Is Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, the lovely Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, set to leave AARO? Is it finally happening? Well, let's discuss. Get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, please share on social media, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Okay, let's just get right to it. Yeah, there's been a really interesting tweet thread by Ross Coulthart, and a lot of people, other people like Matt Ford on the Good Trouble Show, are chiming in with their thoughts about Sean Kirkpatrick and just who he is and what he represents. And it's not UFO transparency, but it does seem to involve UFOs. Yeah, so here we go. Ross Coulthart has a 3-tweet thread, and then he has some additional thoughts. Number one, is current DoD AARO boss Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick moving on? Yeah, Godspeed, right? Don't let the door hit you. He registered this LLC 2 weeks ago, 16 October, non-linear solutions to a NC address. Bought with his wife in November 2017, which I will not be publicly disclosing, and I urge others to respect his privacy. And here we go, limited liability company, Non-Linear Solutions, interesting name, and a registered agent, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, Sean M. Kirkpatrick. So number two, Sean M. Kirkpatrick is now registered as staff with the DOE Oak Ridge National Laboratory. And I'll get to that, more on that in a minute. ORNL is run by UT in Battelle for energy. If this is Kirkpatrick, then the Battelle link raises serious perception of conflict questions. Yeah, I think so. Battelle seems to be a part of all of this. Also on the Battelle board, Stephanie O'Sullivan, former Deputy Director, ODNI Gov, and ex-CIA Director of Science and Technology. As Liberation Times reported, she has previously denied awareness of a U.A.P. crash retrieval program. Yeah, well, she would. Questions have been sent to Department of Defense and DOD's AARO, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, asking if he's the same person listed as staff at ORNL. If so, it requires explanation because the AARO boss is presumably also investigating possible Battelle links with crash retrieval and reverse engineering programs. Yeah, so about that, here we go. Here's Oak Ridge Labs, ORNL. ORNL is the largest multi-program science and energy research lab in the U.S. ORNL is managed by UT Battelle for energy. And we also get a link to this Reddit thread that I've already discussed a few months ago, where a whistleblower, a alleged whistleblower working at a lab, was actually studying alien bodies or non-human bodies, particularly their genetics. And he goes into great detail about all of this. And I've gone through all of this before. I don't want to go through it all again. But this lab, he says, the laboratory itself is located in Fort Detrick, Maryland, in a building used for legitimate biomedical research. The clandestine operations are carried out in a restricted part of the basement, out of sight from regular workers. Contrary to what one might imagine, the biosafety level is not maximal for this type of research. And he goes on to talk about the bodies being held in horizontal freezers at temperature of negative 80 Celsius nominal. To maximize the preservation of these carcasses, they are preserved in vacuum bags, and the air in the room is controlled to minimize humidity, genetics. And yeah, I've gone over all of this before, but it was a really interesting Twitter thread or Reddit thread. It hasn't been confirmed. We don't know for sure if this is a legit whistleblower giving legit information, but he goes into a lot of detail. And this seems to be probably Battelle. So that seems to be the security contractor, national security contractor that he's referring to. And if Sean Kirkpatrick is part of that, that's obviously a conflict of interest, right? If he's actually investigating Battelle, if indeed he is. He's also part of SAIC, which I've covered before, which is another big tech company, also a huge player in all of this, and they seem to be reverse engineering UFOs as well. So we're getting this picture of the UFO Control Group, right? Lockheed Martin, Battelle, SAIC. We're actually naming names now of these companies that seem to be major players in the UFO Control Group, in UFO crash retrievals and reverse engineering and whatever skullduggery they've been about all these years. I mean, Lockheed Martin helped build Area 51. They've been in this game for a long time. So, what part does Sean Kirkpatrick play in all of this? Probably not a major part, but, major enough. Major enough. He has been in this game for a long time. He used to work under Inman, Bobby Ray Inman, who admitted on audio that he was involved in UFO reverse engineering. And that was years and years ago. We don't know how closely Sean Kirkpatrick was affiliated with Inman, but he has continued. Everything that he has done would lead one to believe that he was working pretty closely and was definitely involved in those projects, because he seems to have gone on from there to continue that tradition, that legacy, that working for the UFO Control Group. So that seems to be what he's been about and who he is. And, like I said before, he gets a gold star, employee of the month over there at the UFO Control Group. Could he be moving on? What would happen if he did move on? Would we just get another Kirkpatrick? I fear that would be the case. I mean, I would love it if we could get somebody actually committed to UFO disclosure to run AARO, because I do think that AARO was legitimate. It was set up with the best of intentions. I really firmly believe that it was, because if you look at the language that describes the creation of AARO and the legislation, it seems to be a legitimate effort, with a robust language. And it was, of course, co-opted by the UFO Control Group, with Sean Kirkpatrick leading the way. And, it has never lived up to the promise of that original legislative language. And obviously that was by design. When did the UFO Control Group get their hooks into this? I think it was actually before AARO was even created. I believe that they started to subvert all of this process after Jay Stratton left the U.A.P. task force. And he goes into some detail about why he left the task force. If you read the transcript of the interview between him and Travis Taylor in that interview by George Knapp that I covered a day or two ago. So read that, and it'll give you some insight into why he left. It wasn't because he was maneuvered out or forced out. It was, his contract had expired. But when he did leave, that left a power vacuum for someone else to come in, and that person was not proactive in the way that Jay Stratton was. Jay Stratton says he actually got in trouble for being too proactive in the UAP task force, which is kind of hilarious and sad. But that seems to be where things went south. And, AARO was created with the best of intentions, I firmly believe. But that tradition of the conspiracy, cover up, whatever you want to call it, the UFO Control Group steering the conversation down a certain way continued under Kirkpatrick. And it is what it is, and I don't know if we can expect better from a new head of AARO. I guess that all depends on who is running Kirkpatrick and whether they think enough is enough. Maybe they will throw us a bone with the next director, if there is a next director, if Kirkpatrick really is leaving. We don't have any confirmation that that's the case, but maybe in the next director they'll meet us halfway and they'll give us a few actual nuggets They'll sprinkle a little more truth in with their lies to make it a little bit more believable, possibly. I don't know, guys, but it's an interesting situation. Either way, Kirkpatrick, according to, I think it was the Good Trouble show that broke the story the first time that I heard it, he has an advisory board, a secret advisory board in AARO, composed of at least 2 members that are retired members of the UFO Control Group. Kirkpatrick is involved with 1 or 2 companies that seem to be reverse engineering UFOs. He has been lying about UFOs since day 1. Every public utterance he has said has been sprinkled with lies and very little truth. Just blatant lies, the lies that he has been caught at time and again. Fudging the numbers, saying there were no health effects from UFO encounters. Just basically every word out of his mouth is a lie. And, that's where we are. That's where we are, guys. But there is some room for hope that he may be leaving. Ross Coulthart seems to think that is a possibility. So fingers crossed that the lovely Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick is on his way out the door. But time will tell. And if he does leave, what happens then? Who do we get? Are we going to get somebody actually committed to UFO disclosure? So what do you guys think? Is he going to leave? Is he compromised? Does he have a conflict of interest? Is he a pawn or a knight of the UFO Control Group? And if he does leave, do you expect to get anybody better in his place to run AARO? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. Smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. I would love to see you guys there. If you wanted to support Cosmic Road in an even bigger way, and I know you do, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt. See the merch store below, or becoming a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos to check out on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.